to a 15 pounds health field workshop. Okay, I'm Dr. Craig, and in the next 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, I'll give you as much value as I possibly can. Now, I've done about 600 of these workshops over the years, all sorts of different topics. And the thing that we find is that the people that get the best results participate. So show of hands who wants to get great results. Yeah! Great participation, okay. And the other thing, myself and my wife is also a chiropractor, we've been to dozens and dozens of health presentations, and we've seen like tens of thousands, and probably more like thousands of hours of material, really good material you could share with you. I've got 20 minutes. So it'd be okay to give you the real juicy stuff. I'm not going to mess around with any fun. It's okay just to give you the real cutting edge stuff. Yeah, is that okay? Is that okay, guys? Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thanks. So we'll do that. Now, has anyone heard that knowledge is power? Who's heard that knowledge is power? Yeah? Yeah. Who believes that knowledge is power? Show our hands. Yeah, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just a collection of books, or it's just information you shove into your head. Knowledge doesn't become power until when? You do something with it, exactly. So knowledge put into action is power, okay? Otherwise it's potential power, okay? So would it be okay if at the end, if this resonates for you, I send you some material so you can carry on doing this stuff? Because I don't know if you're like me, but I've been to lots of events and like I'm going to change my life, and 2 weeks later, not a lot's changed. So it would be okay if I share some resources. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to cover is a program to get 15 pounds healthier in 15 weeks, okay? An entire program, I'm going to give it to you. No strings attached, no cashes, okay? But you just need to use it. And a strategy to eat and move better right now, okay? So, yeah, let's dive straight in. The most important thing in the 15 pounds healthier in 15 weeks, first of all, is the mindset, okay? So why are you doing it, okay? Understanding how food works, I'm going to cover a couple of principles there. The role of the nerve system, and then at the end I'm going to give you the program, okay? So mindset is, what is your why? Now for everybody, at the end I have a gift bag, okay? Well, I'm actually going to give you a gift bag right now. This is your takeout bag, because you need the pen, okay? And I'll explain what's in the takeout bag a little bit later, but you've got the pen, Maria, and this is the first page of the 15 pounds healthier. There you go, Ron, there's one for you. There's one for you. Let's get straight in with the goodies. That is yours. Now, I'm sorry I don't have much of a... Actually, there's actually a thick kids book in there. You could probably use that to lean on. Right, so what you've got there is, I want you to spend a minute or two, and you can redo this again later, is what's your why? Okay. Now, my why for you is 3, 4, and 5. But that's not really important. It's your why that's important. So 3 is so that you can add 10 plus quality of years to your life and do the things you love for longer. Number 4, I'll put down knowledge is not power. Knowledge put into action is power. So that could be a why. You want to have more power in your life. And then because it's fun to change things up and create new beneficial habits. That's suggested whys, but the first 2 are the most important. That's your why. And then the next thing is the who. So once you understand the why and you're taking action, who is it, the 3 people or groups of people that are going to be most positively impacted? Now number 4 is your future self. But there's like it could be workplace, could be family members, could be relationships or whatever. So put that in that first column, 1A, 2A, 3A. And then B is, what will those people be able to do more of or be more of if your food life is more nurturing, okay? So if your food life changes, your energy goes up, maybe you put on pounds, maybe you shed pounds, whatever it is you need, how will that affect them? And then of course number 4 is your future self, how's it going to affect you? But let's start with the why first, number 1 and number 2. So what why do you have? What would be your why to be 15 pounds healthier? And it isn't because the doctor said, all right? That's definitely not anyone's why, even though that's kind of how this often comes about. Because a guy in a white coat or even me telling you should lose weight, that's not going to make any difference to you. It needs to be something that you're passionate about or keen about. All right? So So number 2, 1 and 2 is your why, and then 1A, 2A, 3A are the people that it's going to affect. 1B, 2B, 3B is how it will affect them. 4B is how it will affect you. Sorry, I should have soothing music at this point, but I forgot my soothing music. Okay, great. I'm going to have you pause just for now. I know we've just got some creative juices going there, but you can do this later when you're in the quiet of your own home and you put on your own soothing music, actually. But you get the idea. If we can work out the why, then the rest of the work becomes a lot easier. Okay. So we just put that down for now, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. All right. So that's the why. Okay. So mindset-wise, commit to learning. Actually, there's a really important thing with mindset. Commit to learning. So learning a bit about food. You're here, so you're clearly committed to learning. So that's fantastic. Food, movement. That's important. Movement you enjoy, and the nerve system. Hey, welcome.
Hi.
Sorry, what was your name?
Max.
Max, well done, Max. Come on in. Take a seat there. All set. So I'll go through that a little bit with you at the end, actually, anyway, because you guys are all going to get this anyway. So we're talking about the mindset. As far as becoming healthier, in whatever area of life. In this case, we're talking about 15 pounds healthier. So it could be you want to put weight on, it could be you want to lose weight, whichever it is. But the most important thing first is to get the mindset, the why you want to do that, Max. So that's what we're just covering there. Being committed to learning, okay? Because we don't have all the answers straight away, okay? And it's a process. Learning about food, movement, nerve system. So you guys are already in the process of that, and you're here. Exploring new options, okay? Because if you do the same things, what do they say? You keep doing the same things, guess what? You're going to get the same results. So it makes sense to explore some different options, okay? Right, now why on earth is a chiropractor potentially talking about weight loss? And I'm not talking about healthy weight. Actually, let me rewind. There's something that I haven't put down here, which is probably one of the most important things. If you spend 15 weeks being disciplined with yourself, changing your eating, looking at different ways you can eat, then at the end, you may not have lost 15 pounds or put on 15 pounds, but you will definitely have changed as a person. You'll have a lot more information, and it's the person that you become in the process that's actually the important thing. Because say you lose 10 pounds, you understand a lot more about food, and then this actually happened to me. I lost 17 pounds, then went on holiday. On the very day that I finished this eating regimen, then I put on the weight pretty quickly. But I have a whole different set of tools now. I know how to approach. If I do have a lot of weight gain, not that it was, but if I want to lose weight, I can lose weight. I know I can lose. I lost 17 pounds, but I only needed to lose 5. So the point is, you can resculpt your body by applying these principles. Depending on what your aims are. Okay, and it's not the thing. It's not the program. It's me applying myself to the program, how I change. Okay, and progress, not perfection. That's one of the big things. A lot of us are perfectionists, and including me. And if you set yourself a real strict timetable and you don't achieve it, guess what? You give up really quickly because you didn't achieve what you meant to achieve. So basically, it's a form of procrastination. Perfectionism is a form of procrastination. It just says, well, I can give up now because I didn't achieve what I told myself I was going to But remember, it's just getting the progress, not perfection. And you probably on that one as well. Okay, now why is a chiropractor talking about weight loss? Well, I'm not. I'm talking about becoming healthier, being able to do what you love doing for longer. Okay, but if we want to apply it directly to weight gain, this is the nerve map. My job as a chiropractor is to adjust the spine, take pressure off the nerves, allow the body to function better. 50% of the nerves go to the organs. So if I'm adjusting your spine, I expect the organs to improve in function, okay, throughout the spine. Most people just think about the pain side of it. That is actually only 10% of your nerves. And really the pain is the red oil light, so neck pain, back pain. The pain is the red oil light telling you there's no oil in the car. Now most people treat the red oil light instead of sorting out the oil. They get out the black masking tape, put it over the red oil light and carry on driving. Now you wouldn't do that to your car if it glass, but they do it to their bodies. They have pain, so they take a painkiller. It's exactly the same as putting the black tape over the red oil light. But in this case, what I'm concerned about is, for example, T6 controls the nerves to the stomach. So if there's imbalance or interference here, then your stomach isn't going to digest food as well as it should be able to. Or maybe it's going to break down and you're going to have acid coming up here, called acid reflux, or it goes into the bowel, and we call that irritable bowel syndrome. And obviously your body's not going to work as effectively if that sort of stuff goes on. A little bit lower down, pancreas, we're going to talk about that. That's the T7. The pancreas produces a lot of the enzymes that break down your food. Small intestines, they get a feed from the bottom of the mid-back. And then the small intestine takes nutrients out of the slurry that you have pushed into the body from the stomach. And then the large intestines, which are at the next level down, they take water out of the slurry. And that's why you get solid waste at the end, because all the water's been extracted at those different levels. Well, the cells that make up all of this, the nerve system recreates cells constantly. So if you have interference here in the spine, the function here can break down, but also the structure of those organs can break down. Okay? Which is why I'm not surprised when people's energy levels go up when I work with them. You know, when they had to go to the bathroom once every 3 days, now they're going regularly every day. That stuff doesn't surprise me because I understand the idea behind this. Do I know exactly how and why it's happened? No, of course I don't, because it's a bit of an imponderable. But what I do know is my job is to remove nerve interference, and when I do that, people function better. It's kind of all I need to know. All right. Now, there is a big process to get to, well, not a big process, there's a process we use. We take scans, full on, we do scans, we do a full hands-on evaluation, we go through the history in a lot of detail, we get x-rays taken, because I want to see what's happening to the condition here. And the follow-on visit, we put all that information together, we give you a pack, so you have a written brief of everything that's going on with your body. I give you a verbal brief, I explain what's going on, I show you all the x-rays, you have them in the pack, and then I put together a plan of what I would do in your situation to get the best results. And then if we take you up for care, we just get going straight away. Usually that full spinal assessment is 180, because you guys are here and you're keen to learn, it's just 60. Okay, I'll tell you how to get that at the end, super easy. But this is how we assess people. Now the other thing with this nerve map is the one side of the nerve system, exactly the same nerves, exactly the same organs, different chemicals produce a different effect. It's called fight and flight. Has anyone here ever been in fight and flight? A little bit of stress? You haven't? Yeah, right. So, when we've, so that's the stress response, yeah. When there's a bear in the room. So what happens when there's a bear in the room? Can your stomach, does your stomach process food when there's a bear in the room? Yeah? No, does it? In fact, in some cases people vomit when they're fearful, yeah? And that is your body's intelligence getting rid of food because it doesn't want to process it, because it's the second most energy intensive process. The most energy intensive process is thinking intelligently, you know? So can you do a maths problem if there's a bear in the room? Most likely not, no, unless you're super cool, all right? But that's because the energy goes from the brain, goes to the legs to get you out of that. Now that we don't live with bears in the room, but we have the modern equivalent, which is trouble at work, trouble with the boss, trouble with relationships, trouble with children, trouble with family members, whatever it might be. And there's this low underlying stress response going on. So instead of living in rest and digest, where the body's repairing and healing itself, we're much more over in fight and flight, especially when there's particularly stressful things going on at work or in the family. Okay? And that's why we stop eating when we're stressed, because the body doesn't want to use that energy to break down that, because it believes there's a bear in the room. Okay? Now, while I'm telling you this, as a chiropractor, we already talk physically of how I can affect digestion. But also when I adjust the neck and the pelvis, the body moves from fight and flight to rest and digest. And there's a clue in the name. When you're in rest and digest, you're going to digest your food properly. And the other thing, well, we'll talk about it in a bit. You're going to digest your food properly, and less food will be getting turned into emergency store for later, which is fat. Yeah. So right, let's crack on. So we've got 12 minutes now. So chiropractic, so better movement. If I'm adjusting you and your body's moving better, well, guess what? Now perhaps you feel, actually, my body feels a lot more fluid. Now I'm happy to go running or walking energetically, or just doing those exercises you've been wanting to do. Better nerve function, more energy, less food to function. Okay, nerves are calm, less stress eating. All right. And the stomach, we already talked about, and pancreas is actually T10, and we'll talk about that in a second. The pancreas produces chemicals that break down the food. And then the intestines are the lower back, so L2, L3 affects the lower back, or the large intestine. Okay, so I promised I'd show you very briefly how food works. Okay, now we have macronutrients, which are the big blocks, and we have micronutrients. You probably remember macronutrients from high school. We're talking about proteins, which build muscle, carbs, which are the immediate energy source, and then fat, which is the energy store. So when you have too much carbs, they get broken down and put into fat blobs, which is an emergency store for, which gets broken down back into carbohydrates, or energy source anyway, at least. Remember those from school, right? Roughly, more or less. So that's the macronutrients, the big ones. Now, the truth is it's the micronutrients, the little ones, which are all the vitamins and the minerals, which to me are the most exciting ones, okay? Because if you cut, let me explain. Micronutrients produce something called an enzyme. Now, I don't know if you remember at school when we talked about catalysts. Now, a catalyst is when you have substance A and substance B, you mix them together, and guess what? Nothing happens. But then you have substance C, which is a catalyst, which doesn't get made, it doesn't get destroyed, but when you drop it into the mix, you have a really, often a violent reaction. In other words, that catalyst, which doesn't get involved in the reaction, just changes it so that the reaction happens really quickly. Well, enzymes are biological catalysts, okay? So in other words, when you're eating your greens, and it's got all those micronutrients in, then what you actually do is, instead of having to use this much energy for a reaction to happen, it happens really quickly. So it speeds up the processes happening in your body. Now, I don't just mean by 2 or 3 times. Enzymes can speed up catalysts up to 1 million times faster than they otherwise would happen. So if you imagine you're eating your greens and you're eating your fresh juices, as opposed to processed food, which has had a lot of that killed because it needs to be taken out. Otherwise, things deteriorate a lot quicker, and there's no profit in that. If things break down in a day, which is why did you see the burger I had at the beginning, the McDonald's burger? I should have showed you that. Sorry. It's right at the beginning. There's a McDonald's burger, 10 years old. The chef walked in and she said, "Why is there no mold on that if it's 10 years old?" I'm saying, exactly. After 10 years, it looks exactly the same. I'll show you at the end. All right. But the point is, the enzymes have been removed. There's no micronutrients in it. there's macronutrients, there's fat, and there's carbohydrates, and there's protein, but there's no micronutrients, so there is no life in that food. So let me talk a little bit more about that. So a measurement of life in the food could be this nutrient density, and that means per, whatever it is, per kilogram of food, how much, it actually does it, it's the health equals the nutrients divided by the calories, okay? So it takes a foodstuff, how many nutrients, if there's a lot of nutrients and not many carbohydrates, or not many calories, then it's high nutrient density. So in this case, it's the vegetables that are the high nutrient density, the green vegetables, and I'm going to give you a list of those in just a second. But when you get things like soda's ridiculous. Like broccoli, kale is 1,000, and soda is 1. So in other words, it has so much sugar, so many calories, and so little nutrient that it's just the last thing you'd ever want to put in your body, really. But of course, with the marketing, we do anyway. Because all right, so here's a spreadsheet. I find this now just because it's good for you doesn't mean to say, like for example, cucumbers only 87, but so that's the amount of nutrients divided by the calories. Sweet potatoes have got a lot of calories, it's got a lot of nutrients, better than potato, but it's still pretty low on the chart compared to the kale and the spinach and Brussels sprouts, that sort of thing, okay? So I'm going to send you all of this stuff, all right? Everything that you see today, I'm going to send you a PDF that will have these. So if you want to refer to it later or just refresh your memory, you can. Here's olive oil. There's a lot of calories in that, and not that many nutrients. Although it's much better to cook with olive oil than say margarine or a vegetable oil. Okay. Okay. So we're going to talk about something else. Public enemy number 1 to the brain, to the nerve system, and to healthy weight. What do you think that is?
Inflammation.
It leads to inflammation. It leads to I'm talking about a substance that we've all got in all our cupboards.
Carbohydrates?
There's a lot of carbs. What's the number 1 most dangerous carbohydrate? Probably.
Sugar.
Yeah. And by dangerous, I used to say to my, I had a chiropractic friend, I said, do you know coffee is the world's most prolific, legal psychotropic drug, which means it can change how the brain functions. And he says, no, it isn't. Sugar is. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So this actually changes how our brain functions. Now, I don't know if you notice, if you have friends that are teachers or you're a teacher yourself, Halloween, 2 days after, there's a day that the teachers know, 2 days after Halloween, where the kids go crazy because they've been souped up on sugar for a couple of days. Okay, that's even a thing. Okay, because it changes how the brain of children works. And when you do this is just a 20-minute talk. I do an hour and a half talk on this, and I give you some tools. I give you more tools. So you're already going to get a lot. 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And I thought this was really interesting. While cocaine and heroin activate one spot for pleasure in the brain, sugar lights up the brain like a pinball machine. Okay? So it changes it when we take it in that pure form. And of course, sugar didn't exist like in the food chain 300 years ago, which is a long time, but the human body's been around for 350,000 years. So it's a relatively, it's a very new thing. Okay? And of course, in the density, we have it naturally, but in the density, in the concentration, we get it in processed sugar. So you guys have seen all this stuff before, yeah? You can get this anyway. It's not super unusual. Now, this is important, and this is important for the program that I'm giving you. Within the pancreas produces something called insulin. Okay, and what insulin does, it pushes sugar into the cells, and it actually stores sugar as fat. So if you have a lot of insulin, it starts storing sugar as fat. Okay? So insulin is the fat storage hormone. Say it with me. Alright? Insulin is the fat storage hormone. One more time. Insulin is the fat storage hormone. Good one. Now why is that important? if you have a lot of it, if you take sugar, sugar spikes insulin. So sugar is going to stop fat being used to be broken down and used as an energy source. So in other words, the body is like you and me. It goes for the easiest route. It's going to use any sugar stores first. Now by sugar, I'm not just talking about the white stuff. Carbohydrates, so your rice, your potatoes, your pasta, unfortunately, they all act as sugar. They have the same physiology or physiological effect as sugar when it gets broken down, all right? So in other words, those things get taken first. So the elevated insulin, so in other words, when we're taking sugar, we are constantly storing fat. We are not actually burning fat, which is why I've currently got my handles back. I mean, like 6 months, no, not 6 months ago, 3 months ago, I was ripped. I'm going to wait till January, but that's just my thing. Once a year I do this, okay? Right, we're going to go, and I'm going to explain what we can do about that in a second. So who knows somebody that should have been here or should be here getting this type of information? Does anyone know anyone that should be getting this type of information? Yeah? Yeah? You got someone? You know? Does anyone know anyone that would benefit from what we're talking about now? What do you think, Max? Do you know anyone that would benefit?
I'm Asian.
Sorry?
Myself, I'm Asian.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy for Asians to cut that.
Right. Okay, so we talked before about how the body shifts and it changes when you go from fight and flight to rest and digest. I've got a Tame the Bear workshop in 2 weeks' time. So today, 2 weeks on Thursday, it's called a doctor's dinner. So it isn't lunch, I do dinner. I do it from 7 to 8:30. We do dinner at my place. It's not here, it's down in my office. And it's called Tame the Bear. It's for an hour and a half. And if you want to bring someone along to that, if you book this on Eventbrite, it's $30. But if you know someone you want to bring along, you're going to bring them along, have a word with Lovna at the end, and she'll get you booked in. Bring them along. You guys have got to bring extra people. You've already been to my office. All right, so we'll bring someone else along, okay? And I'm going to pay for you and them, no charge, all right? And I'm going to put dinner on, and we're going to talk about how you can deal with stress a lot better. I'll give you a bunch of tools, including a 1-second meditation from a Buddhist monk. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, so is that good or good? What do you think, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Good. All right, awesome. Okay, disclaimer. So as I said to you before, just because you're doing a 15 pound lose 15 pounds healthier in 15 weeks doesn't mean to say you necessarily don't want to lose 15 pounds. What it means is you're going to become a different person. You're going to have a lot more tools at the end of it, okay? Sometimes people gain muscle. So if they're gaining muscle, that's actually heavier than fat, all right? So there you go. Now, I am not an expert in losing weight. All this stuff that I share with you, I've tried and it works. I wouldn't share it with you if it didn't. But this guy, he's actually a chiropractor, but he's more of a nutritionist now. His name's Dr. Berg, okay? And I'm going to send you a link to him later. He has some incredible material on keto. And yeah, he talks very intelligently about it. It makes a lot of sense. So I get a lot of practice members that are looking to improve their weight, and I refer them to him. I am going to give you this. This is my program, okay, which I've done. I lost 17 pounds in 11 weeks, so I know it works. But this is what it looks like, okay? It's 32 pages. You've got the essence of it, which is page 2 and page 3. Page 2 is mindset. I'll make sure you've got one here, Max. Would you pass that back? But I'm going to send you this, okay? So it's the why there, and then this is the program. The first 2 weeks. It's actually on the back of that sheet that you've got there. First 2 weeks, 3 to 6. So it gives you steps that you can try. Now at the bottom, you see this QR code. Even if I don't email this to you, but I will endeavor to email it to you, but you've got the QR code at the bottom. So you can scan that and you've got the full 32-page thing. So you've got a primer on what is keto, explains what it is, how it works. I've got recipes, like 14 main meals that are keto friendly. I've got, I think, 12 desserts as well, because we get them into eat food. So there we go. So that is for you. So that's 14 high protein main meals. And then there is protein balls, that's what it is, 10 recipes for protein balls, so they're kind of in between snacks. Hi, come on in, come and take a seat. You still get the goods, but we are just about to finish. Oh, in fact, sorry, I thought I was showing you that, I lost the signal. Could you not see that? I was trying to show you the...
We were looking at our paper.
Okay, so here it is here, yeah? So it's like 14 meals, and I'm going to send you all that. Alright? It's main meals, and then there's the protein balls, I think they're at the end. I think once I got out of PowerPoint, it just crashed the system. But anyway, there we go.
So what do you do if you want to cheat at night watching TV?
You can do what you want, it's your life.
Huh?
You can do what you want, it's your life. What do you mean watching TV?
No, like you have the, like for example, I'm looking at weeks 14, 15, no, intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting, yeah. So that's like you kind of finish eating around about 8.
Yeah.
And then you just don't eat again. It's just basically not having breakfast. You eat again until 12.
You know, when you have that urge to snack after 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you drink some water. You can do whatever you want. Robin, I'm not here to that. This is just a program that you have.
Just,
the idea is that you drink water and then you get strong. You go reserves. You're alright. You know, you're gonna be alright. You're gonna be alright. It's just what's going on between there. This is here, isn't it? This is where it's hard. Alright? Okay, cool. Well, that's a good question. But yeah, it's building that self-discipline muscle as well, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Right. So that's the program anyway. And sorry, what was your name?
Envy.
Envy, nice to see you. Envy,
Nice.
all right. This is Lovna at the back. She's going to look at you again. Envy, this is the program we've just done. And I've got a recording, so we'll send you the recording.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're almost there because I know some of you guys have got to get back to work. Okay, so that's the program there. Let's pop back. Is that pop back? Oh, here it is. There it is. Okay, so there's the program now. Okay. Right, and then like part of that is protein balls. I'll show you how to make them. Peanut butter protein balls. Now, when I actually did the keto, like going hardcore keto, it gets tough. I'm not gonna lie, but that's why we don't start hardcore. We start easy. That's why we start like weeks, and at the end you'll have tools. And some people, I mean, like I say, I only had 4 or 5 pounds to lose, and I lost 17. Okay, so my gifts to you. First of all, you've got the gift bag. Let's make sure Envy's got one. Now, in the gift bag, to let you know, this is probably the most valuable one. There are 150 videos on different things you can do to improve function that I make. Okay, so all different stuff. The bottom right one is loving food recipes. So that's just different protein ball recipes and that sort of stuff. But also there's things on migraines, back pain solution, frequently asked questions. All right. There is what we've got there. That is 12 steps back from the abyss, a war veteran's journey from depression to joy. Okay, so that's when I came back from Iraq and Afghanistan. I was in a bit of a bucket. But I met an 80-year-old chiropractor and he helped me turn it around, okay? So that's, if it's not going to help you, it definitely helps with friends because there's all sorts of people with all sorts of stress going on. This is a children's book for 3 to 7-year-olds, okay? So if you don't have kids, you must have nieces or nephews or have friends that have nieces and nephews. And actually it's an interactive book and it's talking about how people can listen to their inner voice, okay? Chiropractic's based on the idea that within you, you have your own inbuilt intelligence that's been running the show since you've been created. And my job isn't to heal you or make your neck pain or back pain go away, it's to remove nerve interference. And in doing so, it lets that intelligence express as it should be expressed. This is just a little kid's book, and it's interactive, they like it. And I think I sold 2,000 of those in the first 3 or 4 months of publishing. So yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so there's that, and you get a pen, and you get a paper bag. So that's my gift to you. The other one is the full spinal assessment. If you're interested in that assessment in our office, normally it's 180. I explained it a little earlier. I'll explain it to you afterwards. Instead of 180, it's just 60 today. Okay. and Lemon can sort out the home food at the end. And I'm going to send you an email. It's going to have all the slides on, all right? So you've got all those references. All right? And finally, I want you to give yourselves all a massive round of applause. Good interactiveness. All right. Oh, here's a bonus. Prepare. With this stuff, this is a big one. So like Sunday night or whenever it is, protein balls, it takes 15 minutes to make them. When you come to if we have one of these in the office, I actually make them. Green juice, just be aware of what that is. Cook it in advance. Quinoa's high protein snacks. You can get all that ready before you start the process for the first time. Slow cookers are awesome. You can throw everything in the night before. It's cooked when you come home from work. Rice makers, set them on a timer. It's all ready when you come home from work. Freeze a bunch of stuff as well. So you just get it out. You don't have to do the whole process. Okay. There you go.